This video is going to be my first film study of Deandre Hopkins. It's going to be a low tech, to be honest with you. Number one. Number two, you should consider this part one of at least two of these that I'll try to conduct. There's a couple of reasons why I'll separate it. It's pretty easy to figure out, but I'm going to talk about some perhaps underrated elements of his game. We're all focused on the hands, the catch radius, the jump ball ability, I guess some people would call it. I would say, he's just a guy who can play above the rim because it's not always actually jumping above someone. It could be a back shoulder fade, just out muscling someone for the catch. I'm going to focus on some underrated stuff. Play strength. It's I think flying very under the radar. His play strength. Yes, it kind of reminds me of what we saw with Anquan Bolden. Perhaps you may not be old enough like I am to remember that. His playmaking is going to get a lot of attention. The other factor or element that I think is not being talked about as much is adaptability. His awareness during the play, his ability to move around and navigate. If Lamar extends plays in the pocket, outside of the pocket, he appears to be very good at that. My first selection of plays, to be honest with you, is going to be from 2023, late 2023 film. And I want you to consider he is 31 years old in each of these clips. He's still 32. He'll turn 33 in June of this year. So I'm going to focus on some film against Miami. I think he had a devastating game that week. This is a little slant, and I'm picking two plays here early to show his play strength. So let's say Xavier Howard jumping the slant. I think maybe Will Levis is a little bit late getting this ball out on a third down. But watch what happens to the guys who make contact. They actually make contact with each other. Deandre Hopkins oftentimes appears to be a guy who doesn't get the brunt of collisions. It almost doesn't appear to phase him. Again, there's two teammates running into each other. It's actually a really nice play by Xavier Howard there. Don't get me wrong, but the point is DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that in some ways almost kind of reminds me of Derrick Henry from the standpoint of tackling him is a different thing. And I'm just talking about from what I've seen on film from the 2023 film I have, which is 8 games, and 2024 film, which at this point I've compiled 4 of them. So I didn't have that necessarily ready to go this morning, but I wanted to get something out as soon as possible. So from the same game, matchup up top, and this one I really love. I don't love the collision. It's Deshaun Elliott who is making the tackle. He ends up getting hurt on the play. Essentially making it look like man and dropping out to like a cover 2. DeAndre Hopkins getting an outside release, and Levis is throwing the football. He's giving him a chance to go get it. And here's the crazy thing. Not only is Deshaun Elliott the guy who's, down on the ground after the play, but DeAndre Hopkins doesn't get tackled. He's still on his feet here. And then as the play finishes, he's up on his feet out of bounds. This happened 3 times in this Miami game, and I have it at least 3 or 4 times in other game film from 2023 and 2024. And what I mean by that is plays where he is contacted and doesn't go down, number one, but number two, plays where other guys end up. I don't want to praise or laud the fact that someone got hurt, but I think it's an example, a way to illustrate his play strength. It's ridiculous. The catch radius, the hands is all there, the playmaking. The play strength is off the charts, if you ask me, meaning the play strength when guys are attempting to tackle him, when there's contact being made, hand fighting. He just looks like he plays like a power forward, if you will. I like basketball analogies, so there's one for you there. Same play from the end zone angle. And so again, you understand what's happening here. It's a zone, and Levis is throwing it over the top before he takes a hit, and that is Deshaun Elliott making contact with Hopkins just after the ball arrives. Look at how he protects himself. I mean, he's an NFL receiver. These guys are all smart, but I think there's another layer of intelligence and awareness for DeAndre Hopkins, along with all of the natural gifts and the skills that he's got. He's 6'1". Does he play like he's 6'4"? No, I can't say that, but he reminds me of Henry. He really does. I'm just going to say it. A different type of person to tackle, and many receivers, in fact, many running backs, would get decked by some of these contact situations, and his contact balance allows him to play through it and gain either extra yards after the catch, or make you as the safety, corner, whatever, think twice about tackling him the next time. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. And I'm not sure if other people have mentioned it yet or not, to be honest with you, but it's one of the things that kind of sticks out on his film. Same game against Miami, and a great play downfield by him. Look at the slight little hedge into the corner. Just a veteran who knows exactly what he's doing. And look, it's not just what he's trying to do here, but the way that he's trying to do it. He knows all the tricks of the trade. I have no problem if someone wants to compare this to the Anquan Bolden acquisition years ago. But you can see what Levis sees, all the space down there. Again, it's against Xavier Howard. And we have another situation where I don't think he's touched, but the ref rules him down. And these guys are having a hell of a time trying to get this old man to the ground. Like I said, he's 31 years old. I wouldn't consider that old. It's certainly not old in real life. He doesn't play like an old man, at least on film from what I saw. Not that much impact in the playoffs for the Chiefs. For real, no one can sit here and lie to you and say that he did. He only had 3 catches during the entirety of the 3 games. So, was he injured? All of those things. I don't know. All I know is the film looks good, and he's a guy who makes plays against good teams, against good players like this. Again, we're talking about 2023 film. He's 31 years old at this time. This is December of 2023. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know, that same Dolphins team is the one that came to Baltimore 3 weeks later and got thrashed. We put up 56 points against them. Do the things that Lamar and our players did in that game in 2023, do they count? Well, yes, right? Do they count in our evaluation and our understanding of how good those players are? Yes. The 4th and 7 touchdown catch that Isaiah likely had, that's on his career highlight reel. Why doesn't it count for Deandre Hopkins? Why is he decried for being 31 years old then, 32 years old now, turned 33 before the season? I think he's got great ability to redirect, adjust, and reorient to the football. When you combine that with the guy that we've got back there in Lamar Jackson, I'm interested to see what happens in these red zone situations. So there's the route combination. When I do this, I'll try to have the orange route, the targeted route, and in this case it's Hopkins. Clearly, an attempt at a pick or a rub, and the Dolphins switch it off nicely. Levis ends up getting some pressure, kind of moving around, and Hopkins, as you can tell, is not open initially. Like I said, Miami switched it up, but he finds the open space. Levis gets it to him. He really shredded Miami in this game on deep balls, a couple of third downs, showed what he's capable of, if you ask me. Maybe it's too long ago for you to consider this a accurate evaluation. No problem with that. But the reason why I'm using 2023 film is, A, to see what happens with this video. I want to get 2024 film out. I will. It'll be this afternoon. I've pretty much already recorded it. But I wanted to separate these videos to give myself a chance to have some type of revenue generated based on the work that I do. I understand that may not make it as attractive a product. My apologies for that. I still think this film is applicable. You're more than welcome to let me know if you think it is not. Moving forward, actually I guess technically moving backward, same year, 2023, week 8. And this gets pretty good corner up there, mind you. He knows he's not going to win on this vertical, just a straight go. So he kind of gears down right in that area, hence the different colors. I don't know if it really works for you guys. I don't know if you can actually even see it all the way up there because I kind of have the screen zoomed in. But he slows down, gears down right around there to make 24 think that he's not trying to go deep. Simultaneous to that, this safety, who's really already out of the picture, Levis is going to give a nice little shoulder fake, just a slight shoulder fake to make that guy think he's throwing it to the over concept. I think it's Okonkwo. My apologies, it's not Okonkwo. But in any case, clear win for Hopkins down the field. Does he get away with one? Is there enough contact to warrant offensive pass interference? I don't think so, but you can usually tell with a receiver if they're worried about being called for it by the way they look back, and he certainly did look back there. He's a veteran, smart, adjusts to the matchup. He understands how to win at a certain time. The gearing down there, like 3.5, maybe even 4th gear, and then gearing back up once the ball was possibly going to be thrown. I'm a bigger fan of this signing this morning, Wednesday morning, than I was last night because of his play strength. Play strength is going to be something that I will continue to mention here in video form and when I evaluate things on Twitter and in my Discord. So here's the play action from the end zone angle. And you can see the slight little shoulder fake here by Levis is going to hold the safety. But really that safety's already out of there. He's not at requisite depth to be able to challenge this. Hopkins clean win against a pretty good corner. I like the film. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of it. Bigger fan of it today than I was last night. Now already Enjoyed the signing last night. The guy who impacts the game in multiple places. Can't wait to see him in the slot. I'm not a huge fan of like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 3 stuff, that type of discussion. But I get it. People play fantasy football, and that's the way that players are described. In this case, I think he can be anything. I think he can be our X receiver in a given matchup, a slot guy. I think he can line up outside, be in motion. We don't need him to be a high volume guy every week, but he certainly could be in particular matchups against particular teams. I can't wait to see him against the Steelers and their physical corners. So, nice little concept here. The running back is crossing the face of the quarterback, and he's getting the inside linebacker who spot shadowed to go with him. And basically, Hopkins, the orange route, is running onto that vacated space. Hopefully, I said that in a way that makes sense. Essentially acts like a clear out, and he's running underneath. So from a design standpoint, really cool. But that's not the point here. Great catch, spin, impervious to contact in many situations. Not saying he's never been hurt, never been hit hard, but he doesn't play like an old man, if you ask me. Even last year, when I guess there's some talk or ideas that he was injured or dealing with injuries or playing hurt, he doesn't play like one, if you ask me. I'm a big fan of it. You're going to probably hear me say contact balance too much or play strength too much over the course of this video and a couple of other ones. For him to be, and the reason why I pick these is because I think it shows what he's capable of and shows what he understands how to do in certain moments. A couple of more plays here. Really knows how to get an overreaction from DBs. This is going to be a 64-yard touchdown against the Falcons. Same game, Week 8, 2023. So that's the safety who spot shadowed. This is a Tampa 2, by the way. And he's going to give a little stutter right here. Make it look like he's going to basically sit this down into a curl. And, it's really undisciplined, if you ask me, by the safety. To my understanding, why he's jumping this, he's got a hash defender in the inside linebacker here. It's really a version of 3-man rush and 8 droppers in a Tampa 2 delineation. I would say it's a Tampa 2 with the corners in the flats. Here's your Mike backer, the middle third player. Now, that math doesn't work, but really a cover 2 is just a cover 3 in disguise, in my opinion, with the Mike backer being the deep middle hole player. And that gearing down here gets that safety to hold. Again, you get another slight little shoulder fake from Levis. So everything's synced up. You think Will Levis is able to generate big plays with DeAndre Hopkins when he's 31 years old, and Lamar Jackson can't when Hopkins is 33? And we've got all the offensive talent surrounding those two guys that we have. Now, I think we're really missing the point if we want to focus on wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. At least for me, that's surface level. I'm gonna try to go a little bit deeper in the analysis. I do have in the 2024 film some losses, and I'll show those to you. But I like to compare things to basketball because it's the sport that I spent the most time playing myself, playing as an athlete. And then as a coach, it was football. I spent a significant amount of time coaching, really only coached basketball for a couple of years. Basketball teams that are really, really good have 3 or 4 guys that can score. Basketball teams that are great have 5 guys who can score, and they're on the floor at the same time, and they can also defend. When you have a team that has a great scorer who comes off the bench, you got 6 guys who can score, you're in an unbelievable situation. I think this year's team for the Ravens, offensively, this is an analogy, so perhaps it breaks down. I think we've got 8 guys who can score. We had 7 last year in 2024, and now we have 8. DeAndre Hopkins can score. He doesn't play defense, so my analogy breaks down there. But he's a guy who impacts the game, and he's high efficiency in 2024, 70% catch percentage. How will that transition to Baltimore with Todd Monken's offense? I see no reason why he can't be high efficiency. Look at our efficiency rate for our other receivers and tight ends. Incredible efficiency for the tight ends. Hopkins' routes are going to be intermediate routes generally. I don't think he's a guy who's capped at 14, 15, 16-yard routes. I think he's a guy who can work just like Rashad Bateman. Maybe not as fast as Bateman at this point, but the combination of just those two is exciting. And when you add Zay Flowers to the mix and all the tight ends, I think we've got 8 guys who can score, And that's my analogy. Feel free to break it down for me, or maybe expand upon it, improve upon it if you will. If you didn't enjoy the fact that this used 2023 film, my apologies. It's quite obvious, the reason why. I will have some 2024 film out later today that'll probably be demonetized for my channel. So if you did enjoy this video, first of all, please comment so that helps the video get pushed out to a larger audience. Additional to that, if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this one, please consider grabbing a link to it, sharing it out on social media so other Ravens fans can enjoy this video as well. Appreciate you guys' time.